Every life begins quietly, almost unnoticed, a single spark against the vast backdrop of time. Yet some people rise from ordinary beginnings to leave behind stories that echo far beyond their years. Their triumphs, their failures, their moments of courage and their moments of pain all weave together into a journey that reveals who they truly were. This is not just a recounting of dates or accomplishments. It is a look into the heartbeat of a life lived under the weight of expectations, the push of ambition, the pull of fate, and the fragile thread that connects us all. As we step into this story, we do so not simply to observe a life, but to understand the humanity within it, the struggle, the hope, the losses, and the moments that shaped everything that followed. She was born on February 22, 1945, in Kansas City, Missouri, a child with wide eyes and restless ambition, showing early signs that the quiet innocence of childhood might one day give way to a life lived in the glow of stage lights and cameras. Even as a little girl, the idea of pretending, of taking on someone else's face, voice, story, stirred something deep inside her. Her first brush with show business was modest. A car commercial, a fleeting moment, a child pretending to sleep in a back seat. But in that moment she glimpsed a doorway. Her mother, smiling, told her, "Close your eyes now, Leslie. If you don't, you'll never make 8 years old." A strange but fateful warning. Innocence closing, potential awakening. Growing up, the seed of performance grew quietly but steadily. As a teenager she watched the world of television and film with longing, sensing that her own life might someday unfold in those stories. In the 1960s, she stepped into the world. First a role on a daytime drama, then appearances in other soap operas, small guest spots, bit parts. Each role was a crack in the door, a chance for Leslie to test the waters. She appeared in shows whose names few remember now, but for her they were steps on a ladder, each rung taken with determination and hope. She was sturdy. She was earnest. When she walked onto a set, her heart beat with longing. Longing to belong, longing to become, longing to be seen. And slowly, the world began to take notice. Her face, her voice, her presence, they belonged. She brought warmth. She brought sincerity. She brought an ease that belied the struggle behind it. Then, in 1977, destiny knocked. She was cast as Dr. Monica Quartermaine on General Hospital, a role that would span decades, becoming not just a job, but a life in itself. At first, she may have thought it a stepping stone, a few years of steady work. But soon that role became her canvas, an opportunity to shape a character, to breathe soul into a fictional life that millions would come to know, love, fear, mourn with, and cherish. Monica was a complex woman. A cardiologist, a mother, a wife, a lover, a woman of contradictions. Under Leslie's hands, she lived. She cried. She healed. She hurt. She loved. Through betrayals, losses, redemption, through hope and despair, Monica Quartermaine was reborn over and over again. And Leslie Charleson lived each rebirth with meticulous care, with passion, with a deep devotion to truth. Episode after episode, year after year, cameras rolled. Sets changed, writers changed, actors came and went, but she stayed. Season after season, she aged, as all of us do, but on screen Monica remained timeless by turns fierce and fragile. Through the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, decades, Leslie remained the heart of the Quartermaine family, and, many would say, a cornerstone of daytime television itself. In the 1990s, ambition turned to responsibility. Leslie championed a storyline for Monica in which the character faced cancer. Not a glamorous arc, not a sensational plot twist, but something real, something human. It was controversial, brave, courageous. She believed that soap operas weren't just escapism. They could hold mirrors up to real life. She believed that the women watching, the families watching, needed to see truth. When televisions across America tuned in and watched Monica fight cancer, many held their breath. Many wept. Many saw themselves. And Leslie, through Monica, offered hope, vulnerability, defiance. She earned recognition. Nominations, respect, admiration, but beyond that, something deeper: trust. From viewers, from writers, from colleagues, because she never treated the role as a paycheck. She treated it as a mission. But time, inevitable, relentless, eventually started to press in. Cameras once bright began to reflect the razor-thin line between performance and mortality, between illusion and flesh. As Leslie aged, the world around her shifted. The show's demands changed. Soap operas faced new pressures. Budgets, ratings, changing tastes, new format. In 2010, her contract was changed. She was moved from a full-time role to a recurring status. That change, though minor on paper, carried weight. Less screen time, fewer storylines, but still the same soul. She accepted. She adapted. She didn't vanish. She lingered. She held on. As the years passed, physical tolls became harder to ignore. Injuries, falls, fragility. Reportedly, a fall in 2018 forced a temporary recast of Monica. Another fall years later weakened her further. Her body, once the instrument through which she gave life to Monica, began to protest. Walkers replaced costumes. Hospital visits replaced set. The laughter backstage became softer. The scripts turned quiet. Yet even in those fading years there was dignity. A woman who had loved the bright lights accepted the shadows. She didn't beg for spotlight. She didn't demand indulgence. She simply endured, quietly, with courage. The fans noticed. The colleagues noticed. Because though her appearances became rare, her presence, the memory of her, remained. The name, Monica Quartermaine, whispered in hallways. The legacy of Leslie Charleson reverberated in hearts. Her final appearance on General Hospital aired December 21, 2023. A date that marked not just the end of a long career, but the closing of a chapter on a life lived under lights, lived in stories. A farewell to a woman who had held viewers' hearts in her hands for decades. Beyond the screen, beyond the character, Leslie remained real, a woman who had lived, loved, aged, felt pain, suffered, aged again. She experienced love. She experienced loss. She knew solitude. She felt the fragile ache of years. Yet she carried on, with a steady grace, with a gentle resilience. Then came the final fall, a blow that changed everything. The head injury, the complications, the years of wear and tear took their toll. On January 12, 2025, she died at the age of 79. The world learned of it quietly, but when the news spread, the silence was heavy. On that day, cameras froze, scripts paused, and memories flooded. Her colleagues mourned, fans mourned, a generation of television watchers mourned. The death certificate noted the cause. The long-term effects of blunt head trauma, complicated by years of health struggles, a reminder that even for those who live in stories, the body remains mortal. Yet death did not erase her. Not entirely. Because stories, especially those told over decades, survive. In reruns, in memories, in hearts. The hospital corridors of General Hospital may have closed the doors to Monica Quartermaine, but for many, she remains just upstairs, quietly recalling years of drama, love, loss, healing. And for countless viewers around the world, Leslie Charleson remains a beacon, a testament to endurance, to humanity, to the power of performance to reflect real life. Imagine now, a fan, decades later, flipping through old television guides, remembering the smell of popcorn, the coffee cups on a Saturday afternoon, waiting for Monica to appear. The soft glow of a TV screen in a dark room. A familiar voice, a familiar face, and suddenly, a pang of longing, nostalgia, comfort, sorrow. Because through her, they experienced love, heartbreak, redemption, hope. Through her, they felt less alone. Through her, they believed in second chances. That is her legacy. A human life wrapped in fictional storylines, but more real because of it. A woman who turned a small-town childhood into a lifetime on screen. Who gave voice to suffering, healing, resilience. Who showed that the heart of a soap opera is not drama or scandal, it's humanity. As night falls on 2025, the sets of studios stand silent. The lights dimmed. The scripts folded away. Yet somewhere, in the memory of a moment, a scene, a cry, a tear, Leslie Charleson breathes again. Not in flesh, but in echo. And in that echo lives something that outlasts mortality. A voice, a presence, a story. So when you remember her, don't remember just the actress. Remember the human being. Remember the courage, the years of devotion, the fragility, the strength, the sorrow, the love, the hope. Because through all of it, she gave us a gift, the permission to feel, to mourn, to hope, to heal. And that gift, more than awards, more than accolades, more than fame, is her true immortality. Leslie Fish was born on March 11, 1944, in New Jersey, growing up in a home shaped by music, curiosity, and a sense of independence. Her mother was a singer who encouraged creativity, while her father worked as a dentist. From early childhood, Leslie developed a fascination with language, rhythm, and storytelling. She learned to read unusually young, picked up the guitar in her teens, and soon began writing her own songs, many of them adapting poetry or blending traditional folk motifs with new, imaginative themes. As she entered adulthood, Leslie's life widened beyond music. The political turbulence of the 1960s pulled her into activism. She participated in civil rights efforts, anti-war movements, and union organizing, eventually joining the industrial workers of the world. She worked an assortment of jobs: social worker, railroad yard clerk, computer operator, counselor for veterans, all while writing music that reflected her political belief. Her worldview was a mixture of anarchism, libertarian ideas, pagan spirituality, and a constant distrust of authoritarianism, and all of it fed into her songwriting. Leslie eventually became one of the earliest and most influential creators in the folk community, a branch of folk music shaped by science fiction, fantasy, and speculative themes. In the mid-1970s, she recorded albums with her band, using her powerful voice and her famously fierce 12-string guitar playing to build a sound that was both raw and deeply expressive. Her songs about space exploration, rebellion, freedom, and imagined futures resonated with a generation of fans. Some of her pieces became anthems within science fiction fandom, spreading through conventions, gatherings, and tape-trading networks long before the Internet era. One of her most famous works was a humorous and sharply observant parody song that took on familiar tropes of space adventure fiction. Another, more solemn and soaring, celebrated humanity's longing for the stars and the fragile hope of progress. But Leslie's music was never only about fantasy. She wrote songs about political struggle, resistance to tyranny, the weight of personal conscience, the lure of myth, and the survival of communities on the margins. Her art expressed deep convictions, that ordinary people could challenge authority, that creativity was an act of defiance, and that stories, whether sung or written, could sustain a culture. Beyond music, she wrote short stories, collaborated with well-known authors in the science fiction world, and became a constant presence in fandom. She could be warm and generous to fellow creatives, sharing chords, lyrics, and advice freely. But she was also outspoken, unfiltered, and sometimes controversial, never shy about defending her beliefs or criticizing systems she saw as unjust. Her personality made her a memorable and sometimes polarizing figure, but her influence was impossible to deny. She inspired countless musicians and writers to experiment, to speak boldly, and to create without fear of breaking rules. Throughout her life she remained independent, living largely on her own terms. She performed at events, recorded new material, mentored younger artists, and maintained a connection to the communities that had supported her for decades. Even as her health declined in later years, she continued to write and create, driven by the same restless, imaginative energy that had defined her youth. On November 29, 2025, Leslie Fish passed away at the age of 81. She died at home, surrounded by those close to her, marking the end of a long, uncompromising, and deeply creative life. Her death was felt across the film community, the science fiction world, and circles of independent musicians who had grown up with her work. Yet her legacy endures. Her songs continue to be sung at gatherings and conventions. Her stories, ideas, and melodies remain part of the culture she helped shape. Leslie Fish stood as a reminder that art can be both fiercely political and profoundly personal, that imagination is a form of resistance, and that one voice, determined, honest, and unafraid, can influence entire communities. Her life was a testament to creativity without boundaries, and her work will continue to echo for years to come. Andreas Whittam Smith's story begins with a quiet determination that never sought the spotlight, yet inevitably found it. Born in 1937 in Macclesfield, he grew up in a world still recovering from war, a world where clarity, truth, and steady guidance were deeply needed. From a young age he gravitated toward the power of information, fascinated by the way ideas and facts could move people, shape decisions, and influence society. That early curiosity set him on a path that would change British journalism in ways few could have predicted. As he matured, he entered the world of financial and economic reporting, where precision and honesty mattered above everything else. He developed a reputation for being calm, analytical, and unafraid to question conventional wisdom. His career led him through respected publications, but each step revealed something deeper, a growing conviction that journalism could be better, fairer, and more independent. He believed that newspapers should serve readers rather than political interests or wealthy owners, and that belief eventually pushed him to take an extraordinary leap. In 1986, alongside two colleagues, he co-founded The Independent. At a time when British newspapers were often shaped by strong proprietorial influence, his new publication was a bold challenge to the system. He wanted a paper that lived up to its name, one that offered clear reporting, balanced opinions, and a determination to avoid the loud partisanship dominating other outlets. The launch was risky, enormous in scope, and full of obstacles, yet his vision and quiet persistence helped turn the idea into one of the most respected newspapers in the country. Under his leadership as its first editor, The Independent became known for integrity, lucid writing, and high standards that others were forced to acknowledge and sometimes emulate. But his life was not defined solely by journalism. His sense of civic duty led him into new territories. In 2002, he became the first Church Estates Commissioner, taking on the immense responsibility of overseeing large financial holdings and managing resources vital to the functioning of the Church of England. His financial expertise, coupled with a deep respect for tradition and responsibility, allowed him to bring stability and thoughtful leadership to the role. He approached it with the same principles that guided his journalism: clarity, accountability, and service to the public good. Continuing this sense of public service, he helped found the watchdog organization designed to monitor and encourage transparency in public life. His voice remained steady and principled, always urging institutions to act with fairness and integrity. Whether addressing matters of national importance or writing columns that dissected government decisions, he kept the focus on reason and truth rather than noise and partisanship. Throughout his long career, Andreas Whittam Smith never tried to become a celebrity. His influence came from consistency, intelligence, and a quiet refusal to compromise on core principles. He demonstrated that journalism can be courageous without being sensational, that public service can be effective without being loud, and that integrity can shape institutions in ways that echo far beyond their founding moments. His legacy lives in every newsroom that values independence, in every reader who seeks clarity over spectacle, and in every institution that benefits from his commitment to thoughtful, responsible leadership. In the end, every life becomes a collection of memories that linger after the final chapter has closed. What remains is not only what the person achieved, but the impact they had on others, the stories they left behind, the echoes of their laughter, their fears, their victories, their regrets. When we look back, we do not just see the facts of a life. We see the emotional imprint of a human soul that fought, endured, dreamed, and ultimately came to rest. As we leave this story behind, we carry its lessons forward, reminded that our time is finite, our choices matter, and our legacies are built not from perfection but from persistence. Every life ends, but the meaning it leaves behind continues long after the final breath, shaping those who remember and those who follow.